This video review contains scenes from a video game rated M for mature by the ESRB for depictions of blood and gore, intense violence, and strong language. Hello gamers, I'm Spiderlaw, welcoming you to another The Family of Video Gamers review. In this review, we review Dying Light, available for PC, PlayStation 4, and Xbox One. Dying Light was developed by Techland, the same team that brought us Dead Island on last-gen consoles. Let's start off with discussing the presentation aspect of Dying Light. The game is a zombie apocalypse-themed, open-world, first-person action game that takes place in the city of Harran, Turkey. You play as undercover operative Kyle Crane, sent on an infiltration mission, but ends up finding himself stuck in a post-apocalyptic battle for supplies between two surviving parties. As the game starts, you are immediately introduced to the setting of Dying Light, which is a dark, desolate, destroyed, and gritty city that is occupied by what little is left of any human life, and of course, thousands of the undead. You immediately get the feeling that Techland wanted the fans of zombie horror genre to feel at home with Dying Light, as the entire presentation feels like it comes straight out of a classic George Romero zombie movie. Everything down to the music is reminiscent of Dawn of the Dead or even Day of the Dead. Depression and desolation fills the environment as each area you visit is full of flies, trash, tattered walls, broken cars, and all the surrounding objects are covered in dirt or grime and in the majority of cases, blood. Filling the deserted streets of the slums and Old Town city of Harran are the decayed and vicious army of the undead. Overall, Techland wanted you to feel immersed in a straight-up zombie survival horror game, and they succeeded in delivering just that. However, the graphics does have some shortcomings. There is little anti-aliasing to speak of. Anti-aliasing is what removes the jagged edges from all objects. While the opportunity to see far into the distance presents itself quite often, the actual draw distance is quite short and causes any construction and foliage further than anything within mid-range sight to appear blurry or simplistic in design. The character models lack the detail we have come to expect from a next-gen title. Textures on clothes appear dull, facial features feel overly simplistic, and the hair looks rendered in a last-gen engine. Another negative aspect of the character models is that any character that is not a main focus character, their movement feels very robotic and awkward without much life represented in them. Using mocap technology would have helped with this, but it seems that they did all the rendering via computer generation. You will notice characters moving awkwardly as they speak, and mostly stand stiff with the only movement being in their lips while speaking, and their upper torso swaying back and forth. However, this can only be said for the living models because the stars of the game, the zombies, receive much more love than their living counterparts. While the appearance of the zombies will repeat throughout the game, they are pretty diverse and detailed overall. Each zombie is grotesquely detailed with gouges, cuts, scrapes, scars, disembowelment, severed limbs, popping veins, and sometimes more, depending on the form and mutation. There are 4 different levels of zombies found throughout Dying Light, and each form is meticulously detailed and characteristically different, adding diversity to the enemies presented. The detail goes even further as you slice your way through the zombies, as their bodies will become disfigured, depending on your approach of attack. The strength of Dying Light's graphics presentation is the environments and atmosphere. As stated before, Techland has done a great job in achieving an immersive zombie horror survival title by including so much detail in the environments. While indoor scenes don't appear to be much at first, the moment you step outside to your parkour playground, it's clear to see why this is a next-gen only title. There is so much going on in the background and foreground of the open world of the slums, with vast amounts of details throughout its settings. And the Old Town, the modern city portion of Dying Light, is just as beautiful as the slums, with its cityscape, tall buildings, and its display of modern living torn by the undead that have plagued the area. There really isn't any empty spaces on the open world map, as trash cans, cars, burning objects, pools of water, power poles, power lines, bridges, tunnels, and vast amounts of grass, bushes, trees, and buildings occupy the open space. It's a very detailed post-apocalyptic city with much to gaze upon. Another area that Dying Light shines, excuse the pun, in terms of presentation is the sound. As previously stated, the music is reminiscent of the eerie musical tones you would hear from your classic zombie horror flicks. The music sets the tone for this dark survival horror title in that it supports the ominous and depressing level designs and immerses the player in its emotion. The music will change tempo according to the current situation and will assist in drawing the player in. Areas of high intense action will increase in tempo and volume, while moments of lurking through the shadows, waiting for what's around the corner, is accompanied by eerie, slow, ominous tones and chimes. Another aspect of the sound that immerses the player the way the music does is the inclusion of all the zombie screeches and cries heard from the world around you. While traversing through the open world, zombies and monsters can be heard in the distance to give the player a feeling of worry or anxiousness for what is about to come their way. Making your way through buildings condemned by the dead is accompanied by sounds of these monsters trying to claw their way through the doors, gnawing at flesh, and growling at the chance to sink their teeth into your skin. But some of the most pleasing sounds are the ones easily ignored as you are immersed in this zombie world, and that is the sound of zombie flesh being torn into from your machete, or skulls caving in from your baseball bat, and the cries from the zombies as they are taken out of their misery. Overall, the presentation of Dying Light is one that Techland can feel extremely proud of. My biggest gripe, however, is the inability to turn the film grain off. The entire game is covered in this film grain, and at times can be very distracting. Dying Light's presentation as a whole could have benefited from the option of turning the grain off, on, or adjusting its overall effect. The main story missions of the campaign took me roughly 12 hours to complete. The side missions and leveling of your character can easily add another 10 to 20 hours, depending on how you decide to play the game. The campaign story itself is decent enough to hold your attention, but it isn't anything special in particular. It's about as deep as your average action popcorn movie. With the presentation extensively visited, let's go over the gameplay. From the beginning, the developers had set out to make Dying Light a game with three main focuses: zombies, survival, and parkour, as demonstrated in the original CGI reveal video. So basically, Dying Light is Dead Island, but with parkour. Moving forward with what they had established with Dead Island, your weapons are mostly melee based and are based on items and tools you would find lying around a garage or a residential building. These melee weapons can range from a broken bedpost to a rare and high-powered machete. However, what is different than Dead Island this time around is that in order to upgrade or repair your weapons, you simply need the materials to do so and can then proceed accordingly right on the spot from your main inventory hub. You can upgrade your weapons using standard upgrades found during missions, side quests, killing zombies, or scavenging for them through chests and cabinets. The other way you can upgrade your weapon is by adding elemental type damage via blueprints sold by vendors or found through scavenging. These upgrades include fire, electricity, poison, and impact. Each upgrade offers a different approach to taking out the hordes of the undead that plague Haran. The way you manage and upgrade your weapons also allows for the transition between downtime and action time to be less constricting, allowing you to get back to killing zombies as quickly as possible. However, each weapon has a durability level, and this is where I found myself torn between enjoying the immersion and being generally annoyed at the short lifespans of some of my favorite weapons. The durability level is what dictates how many hits that weapon can dish out before breaking and becoming unusable. While this does add to the immersion and overall sense of survival, it can also seem like a nuisance as some of the stronger weapons, like the Korik machete, will slice through 25 zombies before breaking for good. Other, weaker weapons will have higher durability rates and the ability to be repaired up to 5 times before breaking for good. So it does balance out in the long run, but perhaps having the ability to repair the higher powered weapons 2 to 3 times before they become useless would have been a welcomed addition. Either way, mowing down the endless hordes of zombies using melee weapons is completely satisfying in every way, especially watching the zombies fall apart when doing so. There are guns in the game, but they are rare to find until the third quarter of the game. Ammo is scarce, and are meant for dealing more with the human opposition rather than the undead. Now, the way that you traverse the open world landscape is the crowning achievement for this game, which is parkour. The open world really is your playground, as you are able to run and climb up pretty much anything at a jump's reach. This is the most exciting part of the game, as it allows you to explore this open world in a way that best suits your playstyle, with endless possibilities, vertically and horizontally. The parkour in Dying Light is as close to the real thing as a video game can come, and that is because Techland not only did their own research, but also hired parkour professional David Bell as a consultant and demonstrator. With David's assistance, Techland developed a natural movement system that mimics the movements associated with parkour. An example of this is being on top of a skyscraper. Your character's body begins to sway more as you get closer to the edge. The most exhilarating aspect of using parkour is during the night, when the undead becomes more aggressive and volatiles fill the city. Volatiles are the most aggressive and the most dangerous infected in the game, and triggering their aggression by finding yourself in their line of sight begins your escape by way of running and climbing your way out of their sight. You must think quickly as you try to find the best route to distance yourself from their reach. While the parkour system is the funnest aspect of Dying Light, it isn't perfect. You must look at a ledge you are climbing on, even if the ledge is right above you. If you do not have the cursor over the ledge you want to climb, your character will not reach out and grab it. However, there are times I found myself falling to my death or simply not climbing, even though my cursor was clearly on the ledge I was trying to reach out for. This was cause for some really frustrating moments. And now, the multiplayer. Let me start off by saying that there is no real competitive multiplayer in Dying Light. The two types of multiplayer modes are 4-player co-op and Be the Zombie. The latter being the closest you get to a competitive mode, as this mode allows for other players to enter your game as a Night Hunter, a strong and dangerous zombie with the goal to hunt you down and eliminate you. Playing as the Night Hunter allows you to become the most dangerous zombie in the game. The Night Hunter has the ability to unleash a scream that tracks any player-controlled survivors in the game from a global range. Just like the survivors, you can climb around the city as well as use your tendrils like a grappling hook to speed around the map. Hunting down survivors becomes more fun as you level up the hunter to unlock the use of projectiles to call on other zombies, as well as unlock the ability to disable your weakness towards UV light for a short amount of time, allowing you to land the finishing strike. The other part of multiplayer in Dying Light is the co-op mode. Having the option to play with friends is always a welcome addition in any game. In Dying Light, it's no different. You can either play co-op to go through the main story missions, or help each other complete side missions, or use the help of each other to level up quicker by playing through the nighttime parts of the game together. Playing in co-op is also the best way to ensure survival against the Night Hunters. Staying together and putting together a strategy to survive against or take down the Night Hunter applies another fun aspect of the game. However, the multiplayer is not without its flaws. At this point in time, there is a bug on the PS4 version of Dying Light that causes the game to crash during co-op mode for some players. One of my best friends cannot play co-op with us because every time he enters one of our games, or we enter one of his, the game crashes to the PS4 menu. Not everyone is experiencing this, as it seems to be only with a select few, but it is game-breaking for the multiplayer aspect for some gamers. So, the ESRB rating and what the rating means for those that are interested in Dying Light. The ESRB rated Dying Light M for mature, as it is to be enjoyed by gamers 17 years of age and older, for depictions of blood and gore, intense violence, and strong language. As previously stated, there is an abundant amount of blood and gore, as you can dismember, disembowel, and decapitate your enemies, and in some really gruesome ways. Intense violence makes up the core gameplay as you use sharp objects to slice through enemies, blunt objects to bash in skulls, and guns to bring your enemies down in the aforementioned gruesome ways. During the course of the campaign and its story, there are plenty of F-bombs and other kinds of cuss words as well. With the level of mature content in this game, and no way to turn it off, as a parent myself, I wouldn't want my child playing Dying Light. With that said, we at the Family Video Gamers recommend that Dying Light be left for players ages 17 and up to enjoy. To summarize, Dying Light is an extremely fun zombie horror survival game with enough content to keep players coming back for hours of gameplay. The combat system, parkour, and presentation together make for an exhilarating experience for a wide variety of gamers to enjoy. Although the parkour system can be the best part of the game, at times it can be the most frustrating. Also, some bugs in the game need some attention, especially the co-op breaking bug for the PS4 version of the game. We, the Family Video Gamers, give Dying Light an amazing 9 out of 10.
Hi! We're the Family Video Gamers. Thank you for watching our video.
If you enjoyed our video, please click the subscribe button and links to our Facebook page, Twitter, and Instagram in the video description below.
Be sure to check us out when you can.
Also be sure to leave a comment below with any questions, concerns, or ideas. Thanks and...
Game on!